Oh, you're my fingers.
Okay.
You're so soft. Okay. I'm Becca Hansen from Rylander, Wisconsin. I'm here with Hansen Honey Farm. I'm going to show you today how we install our packages in Northeastern Wisconsin. Package installation can look a little different based on your area, so we would suggest checking in with your local bee club or other beekeepers in your area. But I'll show you what we're going to do today. All right, so today I'm going to show you installation on a wood crate as well as the bee bus. So if you're looking just for the bee bus installation, you can skip to the timestamp on the screen. All right, so the basic tools I'll be using today, you're going to need your basic hive setup with a bottom board, your 1 deep box with frames, and your cover. You'll need your package of bees, a hive tool, a spray bottle of 1-to-1 sugar-water ratio, or we use a mix of type 55 syrup mixed with a little bit of hot water. Your preferred protection, I'm just using a veil and gloves today. Whatever you feel comfortable in, use that. We'll be using a hive pick. You can also use a small pocket knife or a thumbtack. This will just be used to get the cork out for your queen. Oh, as well as mini marshmallows. All right, so the first thing you're going to have to do is set your package off to the side and get the hive box itself ready. So you're going to need to make sure that you have your bottom board and your frames and your box. So you might, if it's a couple years old as this one is, I have to break all of my frames apart so that I can get them out. Now you're going to pull out the center couple frames. I usually leave 2 to 3 frames on the side depending on the size of the box. Ooh, they're really stuck together. And you'll just set your frames off to the side. All right, the next step will be bringing your package back. You will notice looking at the top, you have your can of syrup, and the metal tab will be your queen cage. You don't want to pull it all the way up right away or she'll fall to the bottom of your package. So try to leave her bent for as long as you can. First thing we're going to do is you'll take your spray bottle of sugar water. A good rule of thumb is if you don't want to be wet and sticky, you don't want to get your bees wet and sticky. So today it's about 50 degrees out. I wouldn't mind being wet. So I'm going to get them sprayed down. With them being covered in sugar water, they'll stick together. They'll just kind of fall into their box. They're not going to be out flying in your hair. So I'll give them a nice spritz on both sides. Make sure they're nice and doused so that they all stick together. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up my box and I'm going to drop it really hard. You want all the bees to drop to the ground. This will not hurt them. They're all fuzzy. They kind of floof when they hit the ground. So do not worry about hurting your bees. They will be all right. I am going to turn this, since I'm left-handed, I want my queen cage on my left side so I can grab it out. So you're going to take it, drop them, and you'll spray them down again. So you want them to get, again, a good dousing. Make sure they're nice and sticky. You can always flip it and do both sides. If they start crawling up again, you just drop them again. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to pull your can out. So it might take a couple tries. They're usually a little sticky and hard to get out. Ooh. You kind of wiggle and shake it. Once it is almost all the way out, you're going to grab your queen and you're going to slide her all the way to the edge. Then once you pull your can, you'll pull her real quick and drop the can back in. Then, there's a little comb on there. You're going to check your queen and make sure she's running back and forth and is alive. Then you're going to want to tuck her away somewhere out of the wind. So I just throw her in my pocket. You could set her just off to the side, just where she's not going to get beat up from the wind and all the weather. Next thing, you're going to see they're already crawling back up their screen. I'll spray them again. Get them nice and wet. And then this is the part where I'm going to dump them into my box. So I'm going to drop them one more time. I'll take the can out. Then you're going to take them, you're going to tip, and you're just going to shake them out. You'll bang on the cage a little bit. It's all right if not every bee comes out. You can just set your cage in front of your hive and they will find their way in with their friends. Then you're going to take your frames back and you're going to lay them in here gently. Do not push them down. You will squish all your bees. They'll start immediately climbing up the frames, but you will just gently set them all down They might be propped up a little bit. That is okay. You might not be able to put all of your frames back in depending on the size of your box, just because you also want to get your queen cage in. So I'm only going to put 9 of my frames back in just so I can make sure I can fit that queen cage in there. That one's stuck. There we go. All right, well, now that we have given them a couple minutes to climb up the frames, we're going to work on our queen. So I might prop my cover on top just to give me some time. If your frames are not down, do not put your cover on. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to check our queen again, make sure she's running back and forth. And this is the time when you're going to need your mini marshmallows. So you're watching as your queen's running back and forth. I have a fancy hive pick. You can also use a thumbtack or a small pocket knife. Anything works. All right, you're going to hold her. Make sure your thumb is over her cork. You're going to watch her as she's going to be running back and forth. When she is facing away from you, you're going to pop the cork, and it's all right to take your time. You do not want to lose your queen. So you'll pop your cork, and you'll put your finger right over top. She generally won't be stinging you. Queens don't usually sting, especially not for this. She's just kind of freaked out. So make sure you don't roll them too thin, otherwise she'll get out. But as she's running back and forth, she's distracted. I'm going to quick, and I'm going to stuff the marshmallow in. It does not have to be completely in, just sealing off the hole. All right, then we'll open back up our hive. All the bees are starting to come back up, come say hi. You're going to take your queen. I fold the tab over a little bit just to give her something to sit on. You want her in the center of your box with the marshmallow facing the dead center. You do not want her directly under the middle, because if you're doing it over the top feeder, it will drip onto her. So you want screen down, marshmallow towards the middle. And you'll put her there. You can bend the metal to fit around the frame a little bit. And then you're going to, if I can get it, you're going to push all your frames together to hold her into place. All right. Now that she's in there, she's floating up top. If she drops down to the bottom of the box, just leave her. The bees will figure her out. She'll still be let out. The reason we do the marshmallow is just to help with a slow release. These packages only came in a couple days ago. They are new to this queen, so you just want to give them time to get introduced to her and just make sure they are fully acquainted and don't kill her. Some people do it just fresh release. We don't recommend that. We recommend giving them a couple days to eat their way out and get introduced. As soon as I'm putting this package in, I want to get feed on them right away. We are using this Apis biologic patty, so I'll throw that right over top of the bees, right where they have easy access to it. Then I'm going to put my cover back on. But you want to get feed on as soon as possible, especially with these early bees. Then you're going to, we have a migratory cover. Otherwise, you put your inner cover on. This type of cover, we do not use an inner cover, but it has a hole in the top. We take our gallon jug of syrup, and we flip it and pop it on top. If you do not have this style cover, you will put your inner cover and put your feed over top of it then, and then you put your empty box and your outer cover. There are several different types of feeders. Up in the north here, we suggest an over-the-top feeder just so that even if they do not climb up to get food, it will drip on them slowly, and so they can still get food even if it's cold enough that they're clustered. Down south a little more, people do entrance feeders because it's generally warm enough that they can go down and get it. We just don't recommend them up in the north because it's a lot harder for them to go and get the food. All right, we've given them a couple minutes, and I just want to give you a reminder before we switch over to bee buses. You do want to leave them for a couple days, again, so they have time to eat the marshmallow out. Do not come cracking this lid every 2 hours. Let them sit for 2 to 3 days. Then come in, check your queen cage. If they've eaten through the marshmallow and the queen is out, good. If they have not, you are free to pull the cork and shake her out, just like you shook your package. And then I would add that frame you took out and add it back in. So now we're moving on to our bee bus. If you didn't watch the first one, I'll give you a brief explanation. but it is a little more in depth on the first one. I'll show you the key differences between this and a standard package. Again, the first things you're going to have to do, open your cover and pull the center few frames out. You want to leave 2 to 3 frames on your outside edge. I'm usually leaving 2 frames. Whoa. And you're just going to set your frames off to the side. All right, once that is done, you'll bring your package back over. You're going to give a nice spray down with sugar water. These cages have holes in the top, so you can also spray them from the top just to make sure they are thoroughly covered. All right, you're going to bang them to knock them down. Give them another good squirt. You want to make sure they're nice and sticky and not going to come out at you. So you'll grab your can, wiggle it loose, be ready to grab your clean. Come on. There we go. You'll check your queen, make sure she's running back and forth, and then you're going to tuck her in out of the wind. Bee buses do have a side hatch. So if you can get your hive tool in, I believe it is both sides. Both sides do open. But if you can pop the latches using your hive tool, makes it for an easier entry out of a bee bus. So you'll take it, make sure the door can open. You're going to have to pull the can out just to make sure they're not stuck in the middle. Open it up and dump your bees in. So it gets your bees out in generally one clean shot. Then you'll set your cage down in front of your hive. The rest of those bees will find their way in. You'll start taking your frames. You'll set them back in. Do not push down onto the bees. As they climb up, the frames will finish settling their way down. All right. I will be leaving one frame out just so I can make sure I can get my queen cage into place. Depending on your size box, you might not have to do this. I'm using a 10-frame box, so I'm only leaving 9 frames in there. You'll give the bees a couple seconds to finish crawling up while you check your queen. So we'll step over here, and I'll show you the queen. So you're going to pull your queen out of your pocket. Check again, make sure she's running back and forth. Be ready with your thumb close to the cork. You're going to watch. This is a pick. You can also use a small pocket knife, your hive tool, or a thumbtack. Anything with a point you'll be able to use. You're going to watch as she's running back and forth. You want to wait until she is facing away from the cork, and you can take your time. You do not have to one-shot it. But when she's facing away, you're going to try and get your cork pulled out. Then you're going to cover the hole with your thumb. Once you do that, you're going to grab your mini marshmallow. Watch as she's running back and forth again. When she is facing away, you're going to stuff the marshmallow into the hole. So you're going to stuff it as much as you can. It does not have to be completely in. If it sticks out a little bit, you just want to make sure there's no gaps that she can fit through. Now your queen is ready. You'll come back to your hive. Most of the bees have already climbed back up. You want her in the center with her screen down, and you're going to want the marshmallow facing the center. You do not want her in the dead center. You want her marshmallow facing the dead center. If you put her herself in the dead center, any upper feeders will drown her. So you want to offset her, have screen down, and marshmallow towards the middle. You're going to wedge her in there. You can use the piece of metal to kind of bend it over a frame. Then you're going to push all your frames together, keep them nice and tight. All right. Then once they're in there, you're going to want to make sure you're getting food on right away. So throwing a pollen patty on, or bee bites, any probiotic or pollen patty protein sources, as well as your liquid feed. You're going to want to get both those on right away because they probably did not have much feed when they were in their package. So you want to get them nice and big and fat right away. Then you're going to set your cover down, trying not to squish any of them. Do not push anything down. Never push your frames down, never push your cover down, because you will squish so many bees. And that is the basic installation of a bee cage.
Well, thank you so much for watching our very first YouTube video. As you can tell, we are not professionals. We just do this for the love of the game. And because so many of our customers are new beekeepers and are always asking for a little display, and we do this kind of thing all the time in the store with our display hives. And we figured it would be nice to be able to give to you guys so that you have it on hand if you're needing to. If you're, a beginner, you're worried about starting out, this is kind of how we do it. We don't have perfect technique or perfect equipment, but everybody does things a little bit differently. And that's kind of the beauty of beekeeping, is that you can do it however it works best for you. So this is how it works best for us on the farm. We've linked all the products that we've used in the description below. We have a full line of beekeeping supplies at our store. And we love to give people advice and talk to them and do just this. So we're hoping to have a lot more of these videos coming. Hopefully they'll be better production and they'll look better and they'll sound better as the years go on, but this is the start. So if you liked it, if it was helpful for you, please like it and leave us a comment so we know that you watched it and you enjoyed it. Share it with your newbie friends. Let us know everything you think we did wrong. It all helps. But yeah, thank you so much, and we'll see you guys around, and we hope you have a good one.
Have a good year. Here we go. I don't like it touching my chin. It makes me think it's a bee. Then I'm like, a bee in my face. What's up, bee people?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, if I just lean forward and they can see my face.
Natural pick, sugar, bees, marshmallow. I should actually pull these out of my pocket this time. They look a little smushed. That's okay. Oh, there's a bee on my shirt. Oh my gosh.
It's okay.
Whoa.
All right, let's do this before they start landing on me.
I love it. It's on the screen. Look at that.
Why is he on the screen? Bee, shoo! I can't see my face.
Okay. All right. So.
Oh, what was your thing?
I don't remember now.
If you have a thing, you can do it.
Oh, shoot. What was it?
Closing thoughts?
I don't remember any of my closing thoughts. I was thinking about it while I was walking back and forth because you said you're going to do an outro. And I was like, oh, I'll come up with something. And then immediately blank.
Well, shoot. This would be the moment.
Have a great year.
Oh my gosh. Good luck.
Good luck. Hope your bees don't die.